Let me explain. Let me try to keep it simple, even though it's anything but. They're coming for you too. They just got to get rid of the Jews first. Because the Jews represent a gigantic roadblock in their path forward at a world takeover and establishing an Islamic caliphate. But this is not about land. And this is not about the Palestinian people. This is about the preservation of Islamic honor and dominance, stemming from the mid-7th century all the way to 1922 when the Ottoman Empire fell. Because up until that point, Islam kind of ruled half the world. And it hurts their story and it hurts their narrative if the weakest, most pathetic people in existence, the Jews, were able to defeat them, and they couldn't avenge the loss that they started when they started the Civil War in 1947 and lost, and then when all the Arab nations simultaneously attacked in 1948 after Israel declared its independence and lost. So it's always been about getting their lick back. Make no mistake about it, if the Jews would have lost in 1948, not only would every single Jew be dead, but there would be no independent Palestinian state. There would be a bigger Egypt and a bigger Jordan. Egypt from 1948 to 1967 occupied Gaza. That is a fact. Jordan occupied the West Bank from 1948 to 1967. That's a fact. So when they say, we got to end the Israeli occupation, that means that Israel never had a right to be established in the first place, and they've been doing whatever they can to try to get rid of Israel ever since. Proof of that was in September in 1967 in Sudan, in Khartoum. There was a meeting of all the Arab leaders, and they devised a plan of how they can get rid of Israel from the inside out. And they established the 3 no's. No recognition of Israel as a state and having the right to exist, no negotiations, and no peace. And when you're faced with an existential threat like that and you take a defensive position, mainly in the 6-Day War, when you do a preemptive strike, when attack is imminent and you have credible intel because all the troops are lined up on the Sinai, you have Hussein's troops that are in command by Abdul Nasser, and you have Syria that is fucking shelling northern Israel for years. When you take a defensive position and you acquire land as a result of that defensive maneuver, you get to keep that territory and keep that land. For all you international humanitarian law fucking experts, why don't you look it up and fucking learn a thing or two?